It appears that Stuart Scheller, the Lieutenant Colonel of the Marine Corps that came out against top military brass and leadership asking about accountability, has been released from the brig, which is like a military jail type situation. And there's more to this. And I want to analyze it because that's what we're doing here, and we're covering the entire saga as it unfolds. If you have not tuned into that, you definitely need to go to the playlist because I have every video that you can watch this entire story unfold, because it gets too deep that I can't TLDR it. So to get you guys caught up, he does go to the brig after the statement that he makes, and he tells the commanding officer, hey, I will be ready at 0800 to take me over there, which that does happen as well, because he was told to not talk anymore on social media. Now, what ends up happening while he's in there is interesting because it looks like the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, on top of that, you have General Milley and CENTCOM General as well over there that is talking about them. I'm not going to discuss that because that's a whole other 5-hour stream plus more that you could break down. But what it looks like is Matt Gaetz, one of the representatives, did talk about Lieutenant Colonel Scheller. Can't find any of the clips online about that right now. I saw like one or two floating, but it wasn't anything significant to report, but it was one thing that they noted. Moving forward, on top of that, it does look like he has now been released after it looks like several representatives signed a letter to military leadership asking for Lieutenant Colonel Scheller to be released, which is where we're at right now. But I do want to reflect a little bit because this is important because of what we saw in the past. If you remember, on September 17th, there was a video that he made where he was in his uniform with a tan top on. And he's talking about this, and he mentions a agreement between the Marine Corps and him, and kind of talks about what that entails, which I'm not going to quote at all. I'm just going to let the video play right here.
Update on my legal situations. The Marine Corps has offered me a very fair deal. Instead of court-martial, they've offered me non-judicial punishment for violation of 2 articles, as long as I'm willing to resign my commission, give up my retirement, and accept a general discharge under honorable conditions, which is pretty fair. But there's, the deal hasn't been signed. I haven't agreed to it, neither have they, and I acknowledge that making this video might destroy that deal. And if the Marine Corps, after this video, decides they want to go in a different direction, I'm prepared to go in that direction and see where it goes.
So that makes us question, because it looks like per a lot of the news sources, they've talked about some of this deal a little bit. I will cite task and purpose, as they have said the following statements here have been released by the Marine Corps. Scheller was released, quotations, as a result of a mutual agreement between Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, his defense counsel, and the commanding general of Training Command. Marine Corps spokesman Major Jim Stenger announced in a terse statement. No information about the agreement was publicly available on Tuesday, Stenger said. The Marine Corps has also not released the charge sheet for Scheller, but a Corps spokesperson has told Task and Purpose that Scheller is accused of willfully disobeying a superior commissioned officer, failure to obey an order, conduct unbecoming of an officer and a gentleman, and showing contempt towards officials. So when I look at this, with that video that he mentions the plea deal that already was offered to him in the previous video, and this, it's like, did he take that offer? Was he given that offer? Are they still going to court-martial him? I'm not sure if the Marine Corps wants to wipe their hands clean of this, and that allows him to get to where he wants to be sooner, or what is happening, because honestly, I do wonder if this is where he's buckled in regards to being in the brig. How much influence does he have? He obviously has kids, wife. I mean, he's lost everything. So when you're in there, you are going to be different. You're going to have a different mentality. You're going to have a different mental state. Maybe he has some clarity, We've talked about him losing everything in regards to financial benefits and things like that from his military retirement. I calculated previously that he would have lost between $4 and $5 million in benefits just off financial incentives right there, not including other stuff as well, healthcare, etc. But what I want to dive into is there has been a significant amount of money raised for him by the Pipe Hitters Foundation, which is founded by Eddie Gallagher, which had his own case issues with the military justice system as far as that goes, and actually has now used this as leverage in order to help other people, where they've put up this fund, and now as of making this video, Stuart Scheller has raised $2.5 million. So I would say almost almost half of that. But I do have to ask, if he is going to take this deal and not use these funds for the court case he's about to go into as far as the military court system, what is the money going to? Did we just allow this guy to retire based on his moral beliefs? But I mean, like, I look at it and I'm like, that's one person. For how much the value is of all the benefits of people that maybe have similar feelings as him, there's not enough money from people that would do that. So really, it's like one person is going to get any benefit from this. So I do want to say, I have noticed in comments and things across social media, there has been a shift in the support for Stuart Scheller, kind of like in a generalized, I would say, like more downward trending as far as their viewpoints of this. I will look at a few comments where I think it does portray this kind of shift as well. Sydney Morton says, should be held accountable for all others who chose to break their oath and disregard orders. After 17 years, he knew better. George Combs says, his original intentions seemed to be good, but his plan has gone terribly wrong. And then Victor Lee McKenna says, his plan went terribly wrong as soon as he thought to himself, I know, I can make a video and post it on the internet. And lastly, I do want to show some of the defense to this shift as far as people talking about kind of looking at the negative aspect of this, as people are saying that this is more of a detractor than anything else. Cody Morano says they probably gave him another gag order, which he'll clearly violate again and pretend to be a victim. Willow and Johnson then responds, and his parents will go on another spree of news interviews like he is a victim, raise more money. And then Alexander Michael Coolidge says Scheller wasn't wrong though, in which the person below that defends Stuart Scheller and says we need more leaders like Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, as all he did was ask for accountability, and the far left is attacking him to cover for Biden's Afghan debacle, just a diversion. Yeah, and that's something I didn't cover in the other videos, but his parents did go on a press spree to kind of speak on his behalf. As you guys may have known, he did talk about his wife leaving him, so she did not talk about this at all, which I would say is a kind of travesty in this situation, because if you look at the Eddie Gallagher situation, his wife hopped on board, doubled down, and did a amazing PR job. If you listen to the Line podcast, which talks about that, where I think that might have helped in his favor if that would have been the case here. But I'm going to leave this to you guys. What are your thoughts in regards to, is this the end of Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller? Are we going to hear from him in any time soon in any form or fashion? Because I don't think we will until he's officially out. And do you think that steam will still be there to where he can maybe run for office like people have offered, or maybe do something more grandiose and make changes that he's looking to see, maybe from an outside perspective? But as always, if you guys like what we do, you can support over at patreon.com for special perks and benefits. On top of that, you can also help over at the YouTube join button below this video for special perks and benefits here on YouTube as well. As always, if you guys have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.